You ready to do this?
We're ready to do it. We're live, buddy.
What's up?
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Tint Wisdom number 58. I'm joined with Rick Tallman, TNT Window Tinting, as well as the Window Film Revolution Group. What's up, Rick?
What's up, man? You doing good today?
I'm doing good today. It looks like you have some sunny weather. I got some rain over here in LA. So,
Oh man, it only looks like it's sunny. It's overcast actually. It's I don't know. Maybe it's just real bright in here because of all these windows. We got to get these tinted here soon.
I know a guy. Um, so, so something that stands out to me that I've been wanting to ask you about was, obviously you're in a new shop. You're painting the new shop. This whole quarantine thing kind of serendipitously fell during the time you needed to go from one shop to the other.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So, yeah, like right after I, sealed the deal on getting a new shop, it's like all this coronavirus shit starts going. Excuse my language. All this coronavirus stuff starts happening. I'm like, oh man. So first thing, human nature's be like, oh no, I made a mistake, whatever. But, you know, as soon as I got past that, I said, you know what? I said, how many other people are actually stepping up at this time? How many people are moving forward right now? And so I'm in the position I'm in, so I got to roll with it regardless. So I got to see the positive. And listen, I'm in a much better shop. I'm partnering up. I'm partnering up with Michael
Sunstoppers.
Burke of Sunstoppers. Yes.
Yep, that's where I was going.
Um,
I was curious to hear everything about that. Obviously, that's a franchise, right?
it's a franchise. If you don't know who Michael Burke is, he's the guy recently, that set the. He helped to do the world record on how many vehicles were tinted in 8 hours.
With Expel,
Um,
right?
yeah, so we're using Expel film. Sunstoppers obviously was a huge part of that. Expel, which I'm already in with Expel, so it's just a natural progression, actually.
So,
I've had a lot of different thoughts on it. Go ahead.
well, I'm curious. What was, you're an established business. You're somebody from from last speaking with you. You weren't short on the customers. You weren't like, it didn't look like you were, or you didn't seem to be in any sort of like. It seemed to be you were comfortable, I guess, for lack of better words. Like you were running your business comfortably. Everything was just going very smoothly. Now you're
Right.
upgrading shops. I'm just curious what stood out to you. What are some of the things that made you realize that maybe Sunstoppers is a good move for you?
Well, that's a good question, Eric. I've been doing this for 20 years under the same name, TNT Window Tinting. And it's just time for a change. I mean, listen, Tom Brady just changed right after 20 years. I think I'm on the same path as him, just not playing football. No, really, it just comes down to my um, tagging up with Sunstoppers and Michael Burke is going to help me achieve some goals, some personal goals that I wanted to achieve first and foremost. Um, I would love to get into more of the details. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say on that. So, but let's just say it's not like your basic partnership. Think of it more like it's another bill that you have on a monthly basis. But if you're paying a bill, then obviously you're getting something in return. So as the future progresses, I'll let you know more and more about what I get in return. But I think at some point, Michael Burke might want to, Michael Burke would be a great guy to come on here on Tint Wiz, by the way, because, he would be able to better say some of the stuff than me
So,
as far as,
and hopefully he'll do that, and we'll have him on here.
oh, he absolutely will. I'll get on him. I'll make sure it happens.
So part of my guess would be that typically like a franchise, what you're getting, and again, not to speak very specifically with this, like you said, not sure what you can say, what you can't. Michael's the best person to ask, but typically with a franchise, what some of the broader appeals are a sense of like structure. Usually, there's the structure. They that business has done. They have their operating methods. They also have like a brand recognition and so on. Is the structure, the marketing behind it something that like stood out to you? What
Well,
it,
The thing that stood out to me was just Michael Burke. I really like the guy. He thinks on a level that I can appreciate, and honestly, it's just really about embedding myself more into the industry. Me and him have some very similar goals, and we can actually help each other achieve those goals. And so, some of the reasons that I did this don't necessarily have to do with everything right here, right now at my shop. Because just like you said, listen, I've been doing this 20 years. Whatever name's on the side of the building, at this point to me, it don't even matter. Like I'm not gonna say I'm just strictly in it for the money right now, but I want to evolve into a different part. And so Michael Burke can help me with so much stuff because listen, you've got currently 19 different locations. So all of your marketing, advertising can be centralized, can be streamlined, making all of that stuff cheaper on everybody because hey, it's all the same graphics, logos, and stuff. It gives you a broader recognition. If let's say now I'm a little bit off the beaten path in the Sunstoppers line. I'm the first one in Georgia. They're bigger in North Carolina and South Carolina, but they've also got a couple other states too. And so I'll be one of these states, first of the state Sunstoppers. So getting in early in the program because where Michael's going, I want to go too. But we're some steps we're going to take together, and some we'll take apart. But our end goal is the same place.
Got it. And as far as like services and so on, does the move to Sunstopper, is that also going to be like, does that expand the services you're going to be offering as well? Up till now, you're pretty much strictly car window tinting. Am I accurate there?
Yes, I'm pretty certain my services will be expanding. At some point, I'm going to start doing PPF, and maybe more residential and flat glass work too. But currently, I'm going to focus on the automotive side of things. But yeah, we'll definitely be bringing more stuff in. We may be bringing in ceramic coating or something. We'll see how that goes. I'm only going to do what I'm comfortable with doing if somebody's paying me to do it. So if I start doing it, hey, I feel good about it. That'll be great. That'll be an extra source of revenue. Ultimately, I really just want to manage this place. So I'm trying to get it to a point where I'm not the only person here, and I can just manage this because honestly, WFR is my future endeavor. I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve with TNT Window Tinting. I think I mentioned that last time. So I've achieved that. Now I can achieve something new, use a different strategy than I've been using, just basically to get this store going, and after that have more time to spend on WFR. So the WFR is my new baby.
So
TNT, after 20 years, it's just time to do add something or do something else.
yeah, I mean, well, like you said, 19. If Sunstoppers has 19 locations, obviously there are they have a system to it. They have some procedures. You're repeating successes already. So,
Yes.
do you have?
And listen,
Go ahead.
nothing. Hey, nothing. If the wheel works, there's no reason to change it, right?
Oh,
Like
that's
I mean,
100% right.
if somebody's got something going right, I'm all for it.
So I always kind of felt like, and then we'll jump topics, and I want to talk to you about WFR, which you just mentioned, but I always kind of felt like there was like a void in the industry where manufacturers could treat their dealers more like franchisees, I think is the term. Because again, like they have those resources, they have that knowledge of what works and what doesn't, and just kind of passing that down. And some are further along in that process than others. But I know there's kind of a line that manufacturers like to stay on the side of, which is, hey, we sell the film, you run your business.
So let me just make sure I heard you correct. You would like to see manufacturers do more of franchising
Well,
shops out and
not
stuff.
necessarily actually franchising, but what I always felt like they have the opportunity to kind of hand more of those systems and structures to their dealers to put in place. You could, like, I'll give you an example. You can go to a dealer meeting and they might tell you, hey, these are some tips on hiring. but they don't give you the here's a script, you can just print this out and or post this on these websites, and this is you'll hire. They can
Right.
give you best practices to how to answer the phone, but they don't say, hey, if you're an Expel dealer, here's a script, just follow this way to answer your phone. And like just kind of more like step like system. So like if you're saying if and I'm just, let's play make believe, but I'm just saying, if you're Expel and you're offering, you're saying, hey, one option is a full front for PPF. That full front should take X amount of time to install. Retail price should be around X amount. This is how you can pay your installers, and so on, and kind of giving you that different way of, hey, not only is here's the material and go install it, but here's how you can sell it, here's how you can staff it, and here's how you can, track the sales process. And I'm picked Expel because I honestly think they're one of the, if not the best in the industry as far as like what they provide their dealers. Not that they're lacking, but that's what I
Well,
as an example.
listen, I've never wanted to be one of these bandwagon guys, like to jump on any of these, film brands.
Mhm.
But obviously, I love me some Expel.
Who does?
But it's not the film. They're purpose driven,
Mhm.
and again, their goals align with my goals, and so now I'm aligned with Expel. I'm aligned with Sunstoppers. They're aligned with me, and it's like this nice little trifecta almost of. It came together and worked. Would this situation have happened 10 years ago? No, I wouldn't have been ready for it. And
Why?
there's
You're like
not
too
a
stubborn, like wanted to do your own thing?
well, I mean,
Uh,
listen, if you have your own shop and you've named it and you've had it for 20 years, and listen, I literally have my logo tattooed all across my chest. Like most people don't even realize I have any tattoos, but so that's a little private. But I've
Show
got
us at the
my
end.
TN, huh?
Show us at the end of the live stream.
I might. But no, I've got my logo tattooed on my chest. So there's a little bit of pride that you may or may not have to drop. And I'm to the point where I just don't have that negative pride. Let's just say that.
The ego
You
that might
know,
stand in the way of your what you want or success or certain goals or whatever.
yes. I've achieved what I wanted to as far as building a shop, making it successful. And now you know what? It's time for me to I've scratched a lot of people's backs in the industries. They've scratched mine, and that's what it's about for me now. I want to continue being in the window film industry, but I'll be honest, I'm getting more and more tired of actually tinting windows all day, every day. And I'm not saying I want to get into management. I'm just saying I want to do something else that's more productive with my mental skill set instead of my physical skill set.
That makes sense. Nothing wrong with doing the same thing every day, but doing the same thing every day, sometimes, a change is nice too, and you want to have a phase 2 or a phase 3 or whatever it is.
After 20 years, it's time to shift gears.
Cool. Well, let's shift gears and let's talk about WFR. So,
Okay.
Window Film Revolution Group. I don't know. Tell me where we're at. What's new with the I know you've had a lot of things behind the scenes as far as like a website. I hope that's everybody knows that was in the works. I hope I didn't spoil anything, and I'll leave the rest to you.
Yeah, it's listen, I'm long-term goal minded, so I'm not one of these people that's necessarily out here to say, "Hey, guess what's coming?" I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind, dropping clues, but here's the truth of the matter is that there's a website that I had up here that I wanted to see, but by the time it translates from here to my mouth to my website guy, it might not look exactly like I wanted it. So, but in some ways it's looking better. In some ways it's going to be. Long story short is it's a work in progress.
Sure.
And it's not like this one big thing. The whole reason we're doing it is just to help bring each other together even more. I mean, listen, if everybody in the industry just had the goal of coming together with like-minded people, would be that's already happened. We've already had like-minded people come together, and good things are happening because of it. I just want to say, man, I love and appreciate you. Listen, you're out here every week, once, twice a week, sometimes more. Sometimes you go on marathons. You'll be on these things for hours on end, and I'm like, wow, But the point I'm getting at is that, you're doing something positive in the industry, and I respect and love you for that. And so that's why I associate with you. And there's so many other people out here that are doing the same thing. I mean, that's the people I want to roll with. I want to roll with the positive, the positive-minded people in this industry. That's not all gloom and doom or whatever. I just want to be around positive people, and that's why I'm around you. That's why I'm around people like Michael Burke, Jeff Welch, Dean Mitchell, Hoss Evans. Well, everybody on the RCL group, everybody. Everybody's there because they bring a positive influence, and I love it, man. This is just WFR has become our baby. Let's just say our baby. And when I say our baby, get in where you fit in. It's really whoever wants to commit and help. Hey, you're part of the team. If you don't, no worries. Whatever works. We're not forcing anybody to anything.
So I appreciate the kind words, and obviously you saying that. It made me. I wanted to mention that I got a call today, like early, not super early in the morning, but like early in the morning. It was one of the first phone calls of the day, and it was from Virginia. I picked it up, and it was Michael Lawrence. I hope I didn't screw up the last name. Again,
Yep,
Michael
yep.
from Virginia, and what a nice guy. I mean, I've spoken to Michael a few times before, so I already knew he was a nice guy. But like, he called simply to wish me a good day and say thank you for doing some nice things in the industry. And it's not about what I do. It's about what he did, which was picking up the phone and making a call like that with no other reason. Just, I mean, honestly, just a real nice way to start the day is getting a call like that. So I wanted to thank Michael and
Michael Lawrence.
Yeah.
And he called you. I'm sorry,
Oh, it's all right.
Michael Burke was messaging me, so I'm trying to take into it once. So Michael Lawrence, now he talked to you.
He
and
gave me a
said
call this morning. It was just it was simply like, hey man, just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. Wanted to wish you a good day, and that was it. It was just a nice call. Like, I don't know how many I've ever gotten like that, where there's nothing, but I also wanted to tell you this, or it was just a nice phone call. That was it.
That's sweet, man. That's what I. That's better than money a lot of times. Most of the time, I'm gonna say damn near every time it's better than
It's
getting.
definitely better than money.
It's better than getting a handful of money.
Definitely.
Because it just makes you feel good, and it lets you know you're doing something positive. So you're getting positive reinforcement by people, and that's great. That's a sign that you're doing some good things, and you're heading in the right direction. I love it.
I mean, obviously, I love it. I love to hear any positive reinforcement, but ultimately, I'm doing what I enjoy, and I'm glad that it has positive resonance amongst the community. But anyway,
Yeah.
see, we just got a comment. We got some comments in, but Randy said I saw your name, so I wanted to read this one. He said, "Hey Ralph, you old guy. Hope you and your family staying healthy." And that's Randy saying.
What's up, Randy? I'm not Ralph, but hey.
Oh, you know what? I take that back. I was looking at the comments too quickly. It was because Ralph actually just joined the chat. So Ralph said, "What's up to everybody?" He was responding
Hey,
to
what's
Ralph.
up, Ralph and Maddie? Oh, sorry. Did I get too loud?
Nah, I think it equalizes the voice. So
Yeah. Hey, me and Ralph yesterday we went. I think it was yesterday. He'll comment, let you know. But I went over to hang out with him, and I'm looking for some property over in his area. So me and him were actually out looking around at property and stuff. Like my dream property is just, I don't know, 5 to 10 acres, literally in the middle of BFE nowhere, and out there where he's at fits the bill.
how far are you from him now?
Right now, about 35, 45 minutes. So I don't know how many miles. I just go by time at this point. He's, about 35, 45 minutes, something like that.
And John Little had a comment. He said, "Hello, men and women."
What's up?
He said, "How's everybody doing during the virus shutdown? Did you have a plan in place financially for a pandemic like this we were having?" He said, "Myself, I was prepared, fortunately, for this. Hope you all are doing well financially." Were you planning on being shut down for this few weeks while you swapped one shop for another shop, or are you just
Well,
worked out?
I don't think anybody can. I don't think anybody can honestly say I was prepared for this pandemic. I don't think anybody on the planet was. But um, it turned out to be kind of nice that everything was shut down while I was moving. And so I'm definitely happy about that. And so I'm just basically committed in my mind to saying, you know what? Let me just give it a week, 2 weeks, and just not even tint anything. Just get done a lot of the things I need to get done here at the shop. So it's presentable when we can open back up or when we can start bringing people back in. And for me, that should be Monday or Tuesday. We'll see what happens, as far as the state and everything. But I mean, at some point, we just got to get outdoors, man. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, are sick of hearing about this coronavirus crap. I know I am. And I mean, at some point, you just got to make a decision. Do you want to go outside and risk catching it or not? But it needs to be more of a personal decision instead of a corporate decision. That's my opinion. It needs to be personal instead of corporate at this point.
I'm itching, obviously, like to get out there as well, like everybody is. But I think the one thing is, it's not necessarily just a decision of like, do you want to get out there and risk catching it? I think part of the problem is if this everything we're hearing is accurate, is you out there, you're not just risking you getting it, you're risking transferring it to somebody else. Which I guess if they were out there, they're also risking it. So I guess it comes full circle to being what
it all comes full circle. If every single person out there said, hey, I'm going to risk going outside and catching this, and they do it, well, I think you'll find, I mean, you just got to realize there's viruses and crap out there at this point. The world's not going to get any safer from here on out. There's going to be more. Right. I mean, at some point, every time one of these viruses pops up, I mean, not like they happen every day, but I mean, at some point, you just got to go back to normal, or at least attempt to get back to normal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, man, we can talk about the coronavirus forever. Let's talk about something else.
All right, let's get back to WFR. What not just like what's coming up, but I guess what's going on with WFR? You said something big, like you've been running your tint company for 20 years, and WFR is like kind of where you see your future, right? I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's kind of what I heard.
Yeah, it is, because that's my love now. That's my, I mean, it's my passion at this point. Don't get me wrong. I love window tinting, but I'm to the point, at this point, I only want to tint windows when I want to, if you know what I mean. I don't wake up every day wanting to tint windows anymore. I wake up some days saying, cool, let's go and tint some windows, but I don't wake up every day just wanting to come tint windows. But I do wake up every day hoping to hang out with people like you. Listen, WFR is about exactly what we're doing right now. We're just talking. We're already doing what WFR is about. It's not like something's coming. We're already doing it. It's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, what I mean is, if you imagine yourself, let's say 5 years from now, what would that look like? Because obviously, like in a best case scenario, your location is Sunstoppers. It has systems in place. It has employees in place. Things are buzzing, and you're maybe more of in a management position and spending your time more towards WFR. Or what is your best case scenario? Because I feel like when you imagine where you want to be, that's where you're headed. So you probably already have that imagination in your head of like where you want to be.
I don't always think, I think about 5 years down the road, but it's not like I just take little steps on a daily basis and know that in 5 years, those steps are going to get me somewhere. It's like, where on the mountain am I going to be in 5 years? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Not that you know where it's going to be, but like, do you imagine like a best case scenario? Like, man, if it was like, if you best case scenario, are you like driving race cars? Are you managing your business from your farm? Are you having 10 locations? What are you doing?
My personal goals are to manage WFR from the middle of the woods somewhere, and continue having this shop, whether it be TNT, Sunstoppers, whatever. And at this point, I want to help other people feel what I felt 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I want to help them feel that, and put them on, or help them feel that. They got to have a little bit of spark to start off with, but I want people to feel like I felt 10, 20 years ago.
And by that, you mean like the passion and the love of window tinting.
The passion about this industry. And because my passion is still there. It's just been redirected to people now. That's what it's about. It's more about people than it is about anything else. Um, you know, me and Ralph talk a lot. He asked me about WFR and where I wanted to go and stuff, and like I said, I'm long term. I'm not. I want to get this website done, and it's taken longer. It's taken longer than I want. But looking at it, it's like, and this happens in life with me all the time. It's like what I wanted and what I got. Normally, whatever I wound up getting, I wanted something else, but what I got,
Better.
I was more than happy with. And so just be content with what you have. Like I have a certain quote unquote vision, but that vision's simple. It's just, get people together. A lot of people in this industry say that, but everybody's got a different path or different way that they want to do it. I'm just trying to do it the way that I see works. And hey, as time goes on, everything works out like it's supposed to. It's just my take on everything. I'm a laid back, easy, get along with person, man. I just sit back and chill. You smile and be happy and hang out with happy people. That good things are going to happen. You don't need to plan for it. It's just going to work, right? I don't know. That's how I feel now.
So along those lines, Eric Perez asked a great question. He said, "Hey, Rick Tallman and Eric Devash, thank you for the work you both do. At some point, we all get burned out on what we do. So to prevent burnout, what do you suggest?" Rick, what do you suggest? 20 years in the industry, what do you suggest to prevent burnout?
I don't think there's anything to prevent it, but after you get it, I mean, it really just comes down to, if you're burnt out, then that means you're at a point where maybe you're questioning your life choices or something. I know I've questioned my choices in this industry a ton. I don't have an easy answer for when you're burnt out. I mean, find something else that you're really interested in and take your mind off of it for a while. Go in, I hate to say it like this, but go in cruise control for a while. Tint windows, do whatever you got to do, and something secondary. Find, like with me, like I like to hang glide. I haven't done that forever, but I can still find stuff other than window tinting now just to occupy my time, and run around looking for property. I mean, anything productive that you can do. Hey, if you're tired of tinting for a little while, hey, take your mind off of it. Realize that, maybe if you don't have to tint windows to make money, we'll do something else for a little while. If you do, then just go on autopilot. Just do it. Do it and find something else. Maybe go join some kind of sports league. If you're not extremely athletic, hey, go join like a pool league or dart league, or I don't know, maybe you're into crocheting quilts or something, get with some of those. Find something you're interested in that you can do outside of window tinting, outside of your shop. Nobody wants to work themselves to death. I don't care how much you love a particular thing or how much passion you have for something. I mean, you can't just devote everything into it. You got to have your off time, So when I get burnt out, to answer the question easier, when I get burnt out, I go out, take a walk through the wilderness, hang out with my family. Going out in the middle of the woods is what helps me, when I can't be in a hang glider and up in the clouds, hanging out with birds and stuff when I can't do that. So just find something else that you really enjoy, that you don't have to focus all your effort and energy on making money. Just focus on something you enjoy doing. Find a craft. Maybe you like to work with wood. I don't know. Find something you like to do. Like I like to weld with metal and build stuff. So, but then again, it really just comes down to window tinting. How much time do you want to devote to being in your shop and tinting windows, and how much do you want to devote to living your life outside of the shop? That's all it comes down to. You got to make that personal choice. Quit keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, everybody keeps up with the Joneses. Seriously, we're all trained to go make money, get a nice house, nice car, nice spouse, and then after that, what? So I'm not saying I do have all of those things, but at some point you just have to be content. There's this culture that you're just never content with what you have. Be content with what you have, refine what you have, and then move to some bigger and better things. Learn how to love what you already have. Best advice I can give.
I mean, I think when I think of burnout, I often think like, something's probably pulling you. Like Rick, like you just mentioned, keeping up with the Joneses. So either like your own bills are pulling you. So like you have to keep up with your bills. So you're working yourself to death. And, at first it feels like I'm a champ. This is what I'm going to do to get past this. And eventually you get exhausted and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't take this anymore. So it's either like your bills, or you can be kind of the victim of a busy shop and, you have tons of customers. You're always keeping up. You're always trying to keep your customers happy, and that's pulling you and leaving you no time, like Rick said, no time to do anything else.
Yep.
So to me, I think burnouts, it's part of what happens when you have passion for what you're doing, because it's tempting to go 120% in, but you just have to remind yourself that when you go 120%, you're not necessarily getting 120% out of it. Eventually you maybe get 60% out of it because you're at burnout. So, I think it's just about that evaluating where you're at. And if you have too many bills and they're what's pulling you forward, then reevaluate those expenses to give yourself some more time off. And if you're just the product of a successful business, then figure out ways to systematize your business, make it more efficient to relieve some of that time you're putting in. Because at the end of the day, you're not getting 100% out of yourself when you're burned out. So it's not worth it. It's not always worth toughing out. And you see that throughout like some of the window tinters, where you can just tell they're the type to just say, I'm going to take on. But eventually it's either going to be your mind or your body that gives up first. So you might as well.
Something's going to wear out.
Yeah, your body's going to wear out or your mind's going to wear out, but something's going to wear out, and you're no good then. And, you're not going to be as good as if you would have said, hey, I'm going to, not do it all on my own. And, it's sometimes putting in a little less or reevaluating, you'll get more out of it than just head against the wall, trying to get it done no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have a green screen behind you right now. Like normally when you do this, I see like some Tint Wiz stuff on the back. Maybe that's because you and me are live and I'm seeing it different.
Yeah. So, I have a green screen behind me, and then that green screen allows me to impose a background, which in my case is a purple brick background. But since me and you are connected on Skype, it's not processing the green screen through Skype. So you're seeing a green screen. Everybody else is seeing a purple brick screen, which is not what my house looks like.
Gotcha.
There's no purple wall. There's no purple
I
brick
really
wall.
like you.
Huh?
You know how you can know I really like you? I hate purple. I can't stand it.
How could
Unless it's a flower. I just don't like purple.
Just unpleasant to you?
It's unpleasant to me. Bad childhood memories. We'll just leave it at that.
Purple and brown are next to each other. You're picking brown.
I'm picking brown. I like brown. Brown's cool. Yeah, I like brown. It's neutral. I like grays. Love orange.
Orange is a good color.
Yeah. I don't know. I've just always... Crown Royal bags. I do like my purple Crown Royal bags.
See, so it's not the color purple.
No, it's not the color purple. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll get into it privately one day, maybe.
Dean commented, only Rick would eat during an interview.
Why not, man? I've been working all day. I'm hungry, man. I barely made this interview.
So you tinted some windows today, yeah? Were they accidental roll-ups, right? I think you posted they were
No, that was the other day.
You got near the cars in the film.
I came up here to the shop just to paint and work and stuff, and I wasn't expecting anything. And I mean, it's a brand new shop. I don't even have a sign out front yet. And but like, I mean, I guess it's word's getting around. We moved a few buildings down, so. But it's the middle of the coronavirus, and like, there's nobody was on the streets. I'm like, nobody's gonna come in today, and I'm just doing my thing, and sure enough, like a couple people pop up. Hey man, can you tint this? And yeah, since it was just 2 doors, I'm like, man, how can you not tint just 2 doors? Yeah, come on with it. So that's what I mean by I got them on accident, because I wasn't planning on tinting anything. But I'm not just gonna turn it away if it's right there and it's that easy.
No, so you're in Georgia. What are the rules like in your county, or I don't know if it's statewide or if it's countywide, but like how's everybody taking it over there? Is it like a desert, or are people kind of like, are they going around looking for businesses that are non-essential and trying to shut them down, or what are they doing?
Listen, it differs from city to city and municipality to municipality. There is a statewide stay-at-home order, but with all these different quote unquote essential things going on, it's kind of like, okay, we've got 70%, 60% of the population staying at home. That's huge. I mean, but at some point, the majority of people that work have to work. So at some point, like it or not, we're going to get back to normal life. Otherwise, our economy is going to crash, and we're not going to be the same government that we used to be. And it is what it is.
Have you been watching the briefings, the daily briefings with the president?
No, I've only
That's
watched
good.
a few of those, and I don't. I mean, what I mean, all they're saying is, hey, people still got coronavirus. We're still shut down. There's no new news. I
No.
mean, I don't even care. Like at this point, I'm so jaded about this whole coronavirus shit. If somebody came up to me coughing on me, I'd be like, "You sick person?" Or even if you're not sick,
You
I don't
sick
even
person.
care, man. If I get it, I get it. I think I already had it anyhow. At this point, I just don't care. It's like if somebody was standing next to me and they cough and they say, I got it, I wouldn't even care at that point. You done coughed near me, I probably already got it. I'm cool. Let me go, I don't know, drink some green veggie juice or something to feel better. I don't know. At some
I
point,
don't
you just
know.
got to live, man.
I agree. I'm totally up for like living and going out there, but in the back of my head, I think the media got me a little bit, or maybe reality got me. I don't know. But the
Yeah.
idea of getting sick and then it turning to like it turning the idea of getting sick and then maybe it getting bad enough to where you're like having trouble breathing. So your next step is, well, I have to go to the hospital. I have to go to the doctor, and um, then you're basically in a building full of people that are super sick. That's
Yeah.
scary. Like to me, that's super scary. Like just that sort of like worst case scenario trickle. But
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. So is there anything because of this last few weeks, the coronavirus? Is there anything coming out of this that you're going to do differently in your business, or whether it be a service in your business or a different way you kind of handle your business? Has this last 2-3 weeks affected anything for your future? What, how you know?
Um, I don't think anything's going to be different other than this is going to be a talking point in the future, and we're going to look back on it and say, "Do you remember this, that, and the other?" I think that's going to be it. I don't. I'm not saying this is a small bump in the road because it's obviously a major problem, but I think it's. Listen, anything bad that's ever happened to you in your life, right? All right, think about this. Have you had bad stuff happen to you in your life?
Uh, yes, definitely. With
Okay.
absolutely,
Did you get through it?
absolutely,
You're
every
here,
time
right?
I'm here now.
All right. Let's just look at it like
Have
that.
all
We're
my
gonna
arms,
get through
legs,
this.
fingers, breathing.
It's
We're good.
Yeah. I
Internet
mean, I want to
connection.
get back to talking about normal stuff. I'm tired of hearing about people coughing and hacking and face masks and gloves and people acting crazy with toilet paper and sanitizer. It's just like, okay, man, I've heard that crap for like months now. I'm sick of hearing it. I mean, jaded. A lot of people, I think, feel like that. And then you're always going to have somebody saying, but, you might kill somebody if you go out there and get them sick. I might get hit by a car, but I'm tired of staying in the house. I might get run over or struck by lightning. I don't know. A tree might fall on me in a bad storm, but I got to live, man. Go ahead.
No, I got nothing. I'm just listening. I hear where you're coming from because it's two sides. There's a side of me that's like, hey, this is like, overblown or whatnot, and then there's a side of me that's saying, how do I know it's overblown? Like this could be death. It could be death for somebody I care about. It could be death for someone I know. It could be maybe myself. Like it's hard to. It's one of those things. It's hard to really um, grasp if you're not super affected by it. It's
Um.
you know.
Well,
But you
and
hear
here's
about
the.
people dying every day about with everything. I mean, people die from everything, and I don't, it's we pass it by, and this can be one of those things where you hear thousands of people died, and it's no big deal. I didn't see them, or you can go, wow, this is close to home, and this is real, and this is a huge threat. So like,
I'm not necessarily the best person to ask about this stuff because I'm not. I don't know. Like I'm not. I've been through a lot of stuff, like, and a lot of people have. And it's just like, I grew up with people getting killed around me, like physically stabbed and shot, literally. And it's just like, I'm not going to stress that much over this virus. And listen, if you die, you die. I think, and this is my personal opinion, this next part, but I think, um, me personally, I'm not so much worried about what happens to me here on this earth anymore. Like, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I believe there's another life after this. I'll focus on that and be happy down here in the meantime. Because if you're looking at everything around you here, I mean, there's way more stuff that's negative than positive. So, I mean, you have to be a positive person. Otherwise, the negative is going to outweigh you and just drag you down. But it only takes like a little bit of light, to shine on any darkness. It only takes just a little bit of light to overcome a world of darkness. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in your house in a dark room and all you have is like a light, or the light on your phone, like the power's out, like it can be pitch black, but as soon as you turn that on, it just lights up everything. So it only takes, I mean, we've been hearing enough people being negative about this coronavirus. Yeah, we know it kills people, and I'm not taking that lightly. But there's a lot of things that kill people. Now, asking about this coronavirus, what good is coming from it? Because I guarantee there is good coming from it, and everybody's got their own perspectives of good, but there is good coming from it. And so figure out what's good coming from it. Just ask your own self this. What has come that was good from coronavirus already? Can I be the first to name one? I'll let you name one after.
Go ahead.
You cannot deny that it has helped bring a lot of people together. Seriously. Like, I mean, people are talking that would have never talked to each other before. People are out, donating food. There's people in the community doing so many things. It has brought so many people together and made humans realize that we are indeed still human. We're not machines. We're not robots. And so it's bringing out the human side of everything. And that's what we need to see more of. As a business owner, and even you yourself too, if you think about it, we're out trying a lot of times to promote something, to sell something. Well, that turns into a culture. I mean, there's entire cultures based off of financial enterprise. Sometimes you just have to step back and say, you know what, let me just go back to the original deal. When I was a kid, what made me happy? Just being around cool people, talking with people, having fun. So in business, I'm going to just start acting that way, or continue acting that way. Love people, man. Care about people. Everything else falls into place. Seriously, everything else falls into place. All of it. Just me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Like, when you have the right intentions and you're doing the right things, I think everything, just like you said, falls into place. It's kind of when you're trying when you fall outside of that. But if your intentions are right, you're always doing the right thing. I think everything just does work out, like you're saying. So Eric Perez asked Rick Tallman, if your shop was ready to open 2 weeks ago, would you be up and running right now, full steam? What would you be doing if your shop's ready? What are your plans when your shop's ready?
I'll be running around like a chicken with my head cut off for at least another 2 or 3 months until I get into because each shop has a different flow, but things are in different spots. You got to learn to move into different areas while you're tinting. So in about 2 or 3 months, everything will be smooth. Until then, I expect it to be a giant headache.
But when do you expect to reopen?
I'm reopening next week. Well, let me say this. I'm gonna not be refusing people next week. I'll put it to like this. This week, last week, I refused to do work. I'm not refusing any more work.
So
I'm not going to say I'm open, not open, but I'm not going to refuse work. I'm
it.
not going to be out there advertising it just yet until I get the shop done. But if somebody comes knocking, wanting something done or calling, I'm doing the work at this point. I'm doing it.
All right. And what were you going to say?
No. All I was going to say is these police, these nurses, everybody that's, been doing their part, hey, when everything's done and over, they need a reward, right? I mean, a lot of those people want to get their windows tinted, get PPF. I mean, if anybody's going to get rewarded or should be rewarded, it should be them, right? I don't know. I'm just saying that at some point, people's going to start spending money again. When? I don't know. How bad it's going to be throughout the year? I don't know. As long as we can pay the bills and put something back, I'm happy. Hell, if we can just pay the bills, I'm happy. But we'll just see how it goes. Being prepared for this, I wasn't prepared for this, but we had been putting money back for, investing in some property, out over closer to Ralph, like I was telling you. And we'd put a little bit of money back to open this shop. And we'd even expected a slow week or two during the move. So I don't know. I know that's going way back to earlier in our conversation about planning, but that's as much planning as I did. I mean, everybody plans on making money and being able to survive everything, but your plans and what happens in real life are two different things. Like I used to hear people all the time, how many cars can you tint a day? Well, I mean, 8, I don't know. Any number you want to just pull out of your butt at this point, that you've heard somebody say. That's all fine and good, but let's say you can tint 10 cars a day. Okay, you can tint 10 cars a day. Here's the disconnect that a lot of window tinters and business owners have is, yeah, I can do this much, but what do I do to get it? That's where we all have the problems. Like every single business out there is always concerned about getting the business in. What you can do and what you're going to do are two different things. And that's why I said, just be happy with what happens, because I can plan on being a millionaire next year. But, that doesn't mean I'm going to get $1 million worth of work coming through my door.
So can you expand a little more on what you just said as far as like, people being often more concerned with like what can be done in a day, but not what they're going to be doing to get it? What do you mean by that?
Hold on, say that one more time.
You said that, people say like, how many cars can you do in a day? And they get focused on how much could they, a number that you pull out, but they're not focused enough, you said, on what they're going to do to get that business in. What
Right.
do you, like, expand on that if you could? What do you mean by that? Like you're saying they're more concerned with a hypothetical than the reality of it, or like not paying attention to the profit margins,
No.
just to the gross amount of work, or?
I think as entrepreneurs, I think a lot of times we want to hope for and assume, the best. Like we always want to say, hey man, if it works out like this, it's going to be great.
Hmm.
And I still think like that, but I also understand is that just because I have a shop that is ready to do 8 cars a day, just because I've put in the time and the effort to get reviews on Google, just because I advertise in the quote unquote right spots, just because I do all of the right things, that does not guarantee me that I'm going to get those 8 cars that I could possibly do. That's all I'm saying. You're not guaranteed anything. This is, you're not guaranteed anything in business. So the whole point I was getting at is like a lot of times younger people in the industry, and not even just younger people, I've heard so many window tinters talk about how many cars they can do in a day. And then, okay, well, what is your average day? That's what I want to know. My average is 2 or 3 cars a day. And if I wanted to do more, that's the question. If I wanted to do more, how much more could I wind up doing? Not physically capable of, but you've got to somehow draw those people in to get them to do the work. So you've still got to have a way to get. You can eat all the fish in a 5-gallon bucket in one night, I guess, but you still got to catch them. So what's your bait going to be?
I think a lot of like when people say like how many cars can you do in a day, I'm guessing that that's a lot of installers using the quantity of cars as their measure of success and of their own skill.
Yeah.
So if I'm an installer and I'm doing cars and I'm I might be limited by the amount of cars I can physically do in a day. So I'm going, well, I can do 5. How many can you do? You can do 7. Okay, that must mean you're better than me because you can do them faster and more efficiently. When, like you're saying, the quantity of vehicles you do in a day or quantity of square footage for flat glass that you can put down 400 or 500 square foot, it's not the ultimate measure of the grand success of things. Obviously, quality comes in there. Like you said, beyond that, it's when you're a business owner, you're looking at it differently because it's not just a matter of how many can you do, it's how many are you going to do, how many are you consistently
Yeah.
doing, how much money are you making on those that you're doing, because you could be doing 5 cars and making a ton of money, or you could be losing money. You can go in either direction. So it's not the end all to comparisons, but I guess it's one of the ways people benchmark their abilities.
It's I don't know. It's like I've just waded through so much. You know, I don't know, man. I've been in the industry for 20 years, so it's like I'm not going to say I've seen it all or anything, but I've seen a lot of recurring things that have happened. People bragging about how much money they make, how many vehicles they can do, how fast they can do something. Like I've heard that forever, and that's good. Like because I'm competitive too, right? It's just I'm not. I've just never wanted to be competitive with how fast my fat butt could move, right? I just wanted to move at a pace that I was comfortable at. And anything past that, I was like, no. I remember my mom, I was born in South Georgia, raised halfway in the country and halfway in Atlanta. So I remember one time I was living down in South Georgia, and my mom worked at Shaw Carpets, and it paid really good. Now, this was, years ago, like 20 something years ago. And, it paid real good. But I go in there, she gets me this job. She's like, hey, son, I'll get you a job. It's important. Don't let me down. And I get to the job, and like, I kid you not, like there's this yarn that's coming out of the ceiling, and it's just going down, 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 and it goes into like this big 50-gallon barrel. And so there's this yarn that comes out of this ceiling. It goes in this barrel. There's some ladies at the end of this machine. You take that yarn, they stick it into something, and it does something else. Long story short, from one end of the machine to the other, when that barrel got full, I would have to take it down to the other end of the machine to the lady that was working on that end so she could do her deal. Well, by the time, I walked from where it came from to where it was going, there was already like 2 more barrels full. So like literally to keep up with what was coming through, I literally had to run. And these are like 12-hour shifts. And man, I did that for a few days. I told my mom, I said, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm done. My fat ass is not literally running for 12-hour shifts. I'm not going to run. Like, no. And I'm not putting roller skates on to make it any easier. I am done with that bull crap. And she was all upset, but I got you that job. I'm like, well, Mama, you should have watched and seen what the job was about, because my fat ass ain't about to do all that.
Who suggested the roller skates? Was that your mom's idea or was that your own?
No, that was my own. I told her, I said, I might could do it with roller skates on. No, that wasn't for me though, man. I'm just, I went to the Marine Corps, and they're all about being physical. Obviously, I'm fat now, so I'm not as interested in being all physically in shape anymore. I need to be, but I'm not.
Well,
But it is what it is.
it's one of the things that they're saying, like being fat is one of the things that the virus, like you're at more risk if you're fat. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like this whole quarantine thing has made me only fatter. Like I'm not super fat, but like, man, it's been a lot of pizza and ice cream.
Yeah, well, because as a society, we've gotten so used to living outside and away from our homes that we don't even, some of us don't even know how to function if we got to stay at home for too long anymore. Like, people be getting stressed out staying at their own house. And I get it, but it's like, if you think about it, how far have we come as a people, as a nation, as a country, where you're not even comfortable in your own house anymore in society? It's like, I don't know, sometimes I think we're all gypsies at some point. Like, we all want to just get the hell out of the house, and I get it. But, as our culture is just to be out and buy more and do more, and I don't know. I'm just jaded to it all.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. As far as some positive things that's come out of this is, some parents get to experience more what their kids are like. Everyone
Yeah.
gets to sleep probably a little more than they're used to.
Yep.
And, they get the realities of their family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a good part of life, I feel like.
Well, so that is good things coming out of it, and a lot of us do remember what it was back in, I don't know, whatever you'd consider the good old days. I think everybody's got memories of the good old days, no matter how old you are. But I mean, years and years ago, culture was different in this country. Years before that, culture was different from that. It's like each generation is just a different culture, and if you're always moving and you're always changing, as a society, we're not content with what we have. Seriously, think about it. We always have to be outpacing somebody. We always got to be better than the next guy. It's just, I just don't know how healthy that is as an end game. I mean, because I've met a lot of people that had way more money than I did, and they still weren't happy. It's like, so if I've gotten to the point where chasing money is not the thing that brings me happiness. You got to chase enough of it to pay the bills and get by, and do what you got to do. And don't get me wrong, money is an awesome tool, but I look at it more as a tool than something I just absolutely have to go get more and more and more and more and more of. I can't focus all my energy on trying to get money all the time.
I mean, you definitely, happiness, I don't think is something to chase, obviously, and, yeah, you have to find happiness and then you maintain it. But like I don't know that it's a chaseable thing, like you're saying. It's definitely not. It doesn't correlate with money, though. Oftentimes people think it does, and you're chasing an imaginary thing. I do think that as a society, and I don't think it's a groundbreaking thought, but I just want to put it out there that everybody should get used to screens a little bit more. Get used to the idea of being productive from your home or being productive remotely, because like that's the reality of it. So like if you're one of those people who have an old phone and not a new phone, like a new phone is to me, like it's a very valuable tool to have, because you're probably using your phone all day. So like having an old one, like you're kind of running through life through this old device. And I also recommend a computer for everybody. A lot of people, they only have a phone, and you can get most things done with a phone, but there is a different experience when you sit down in front of a computer screen. And I just think that those are two very, very, very valuable tools that I just like to preach, that I think are worth the money. So when a new iPhone comes out and everybody wants to talk shit about how can you spend $1,100 on a phone and it's a big scam and this and that, like it's probably your number one tool. It's probably the number one tool you and your business are using most every single day. It's not a scam. It's worth it. I'll tell you what isn't worth it is necessarily a new TV or, like necessarily a new car. And like those are things where, hey, the function's the function, A to B. But big
Well,
proponent of having a new phone and new computer.
you talked me into getting 3 of these new iPhones. Like, no, you're responsible for that. The one I'm looking at in the camera, that's one. This is one, and my wife has the third one. So you're responsible for me to getting those.
I'm responsible for a lot of iPhone purchases and trying to
you got stock in Apple, right?
No stock in Apple. I really believe it. I used to be one of those people who like when the first iPhones came out, I didn't get one, and then I had like a Razor, and then eventually a couple generations into it, I got like an Android phone, because I had a problem with my phone, and they kind of sold me like, what are you using that old phone for? Like, here, we can give you this newer phone. It was an Android phone. And I used it, and I would just sit there so frustrated when it would freeze up on me, and I'd be smacking the screen and so on. And then eventually I got an iPhone, and it was just clear, like, I'm no tech genius, but if you're using an old shitty phone, you're going to have a shitty old experience. If you're using a new iPhone, you're going to have a smooth experience. It just is what it is. So I'm glad you did it. I believe in it. It was worth the money, I tell you.
It's just one of them. It's just one of them fees you have to pay in life now. I guess is what it's turned out to be.
It's a luxury, though. It's one of those things where, like, sometimes people try and spin it as like, oh, you're just working to get a new phone, and it's not. But it's with the rat race that the United States has as a culture. We also have a higher quality of living. We also have amazing computers at the palm of our hands and businesses that can deliver things to us instantly. And, like quality of life, I believe is at its highest point ever. So, yes, it's a rat race, but those are some of the things that come out of that rat race.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Patrick Fransco said mindset. these are the good old days. And I think I agree with Patrick in the sense like we always look backwards at the good old days.
Today is the good old days.
But right, it's the current. That's the good old days. Today is going to feel like the good old days in the future when you're looking back, because it's part of nostalgia. You forget about the shitty parts of the day. You remember the good stuff, and that becomes the good old day. Or the shitty part, you remember the lessons you learned.
Yep.
And that's, you know.
Hey, tell Patrick I completely agree with him on that. Like, and that's kind of like the whole. That's kind of like the whole point. Is like, we're not. Yeah, so he hears me. Hey Patrick, I agree with you. But that's what it comes down to. The good old days are today. You can't get yesterday back even if you wanted it back. So the good old days it's good today.
Yeah.
That's it. Living the moment is today.
Yeah.
Today is the good old days. Because just like you said, if 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is, we look back, we may be telling our kids, grandkids, hey, them were the good old days. You know, I remember back when we had Corona and, you know, the culture's going to be so much different. We're going to be able to look back and laugh on this type of stuff, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I think we already have a good old days at hand where we're not wearing masks at the moment. I think we're going to look back and go, remember when we used to not wear masks and we would all touch each other and like shake hands and all that? And those are going to seem like the good old days, because I feel like those days are they've come to an end. It seems that way, at least.
No, people's not going to quit touching people. People's not going to. No, you're still going to have. People are not going to quit touching people. I mean, this is all temporary, brother. This is temporary.
You say temporary, and maybe it's temporary, but you know, can you not look? I'm telling you, like tomorrow in Los Angeles, everybody's going to be required to wear a mask. So you go to a store, you're not being let in that store. Most likely, if you're not wearing a mask, it's going to be everybody in public has to wear a mask. Now, you can say, okay, that's temporary, but
when this virus passes,
but who's to say? So
what you're saying is basically that there is a potential that some virus, and I'm just using this as a term because I get what you're saying, but here's what we have to realize: at some point, as a culture, how far do we want this to go? Because listen, what happened after Pearl Harbor? What happened after 9/11? What's going to happen now? We're going to have certain rights that we've had that we're not going to have anymore. And every time one of these big major events happen, no matter whether or not you think there was an inside job on any of it or whether it was just natural, I don't even care what the cause is. But every time it happens, we lose a lot. We lose something. Like, think about it. And now, obviously, our conversation currently is being recorded because you're recording it, but I don't think people realize that after 9/11, every single call that you have on a phone is recorded on a computer somewhere.
People realize,
yeah, but nobody cares because we're like frogs in boiling water.
Because we adjust, right? We adjust. I'm just saying that look, you're somebody who's saying, hey, I'm sick of this. I'm ready to go outside. If I catch it, I catch it. And you're saying that, but guess what? At the end of the day, the state says something differently. And what I'm just saying is, even if it feels like things are going to go back to normal, I don't think anybody can say that. I don't think anybody actually knows that. And it's just a perspective, and you want things to go back to normal. But I can very much, like, my prediction, I think it's a lot of people's prediction, is that, you know, what we're going to see next is we're going to see, hey, you know, like low risk people can go back out, businesses can reopen, but there's going to be social distancing rules in place where to get in that business, you need to wear a mask. To be in that business and run that business, you have to keep your employee or your customers certain distance from each other. You have to take certain measures to disinfect and so on. And I can definitely see those becoming new like procedures that become like laws, like where you have to do that as a business. And
it becomes normal.
And what I'm saying is then we're going to look back and say, remember the good old days when none of that was possible. Now, Lee Flores was putting in the comments, he mentioned that, you know, once they have a vaccine, life will go back to how it was. The vaccine can take all this away. Now, I understand that thought, and it'd be nice if there's just a vaccine and then we all forget about it. But who's to say? and I'm not trying to be, the sky is falling, but who's to say that there's a vaccine for this, and then there'll be another version of another virus, and if that comes back strong 6 months from now, and again, like I'm just saying, we can't really predict to say things will be back to normal and we're not going to have wear masks, we're not going to have people not wanting to, like, people staying away from each other. I don't think we know that. I think we might be bowing at each other Japanese style in no time. I think that's possible.
This is my whole take on the whole thing. Is things like this cause governments to fail. Things like this cause entire societies to completely change. If you look back at all the great empires of the world, the really, really great ones, how did they fall? Like, think about it. They all fell from the inside because they came up with so many damn rules. A government, the more rules and laws that a government has, the more corrupt that its people are. Period. Think about it. Back in the old days, there was like only 2 rules, right, or 10. And I mean, and you take that for what it is, but it's like when you have so many rules, that you can make rules for people not to do this, that, or the other. I don't know. I don't really. There's a lot of things in this country I like that's happened and going on, but I don't like the idea of being in a quote unquote free country and not being, your freedoms just getting eroded all the time. That I don't like. I don't really want to get into politics. I didn't really want to talk about the coronavirus too much, but that is what's here today. So I guess we all got to talk about it. But it's I want to focus on positive stuff. I can't control viruses. I can't control how other people react to it. I can't control how the government that is supposed to represent me, that I pay for, reacts to it. Which, ideally, when this country was founded, people had more of a voice. Now it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really want to talk about politics because at this point I care, but I don't, because I just realize it's all going to go whichever way it's going to go anyhow. And it is what it is.
I think that's well said. It's going to go however it's going to go. We can all have our individual opinions, but I'm kind of one of those people who don't think my individual opinion has too much of impact into the direction that the United States and potentially the world goes in. So you're just here along for the ride, and you want to make the best of it, take every day by day.
Yep. That's completely accurate.
So just to read a couple comments, Daniel Puente said, learn from history. Our life hasn't changed much based on past epidemics like this one.
Bam! Exactly.
I think that's one of those things. Well, I kind of disagree with that statement, because I think that's one of those statements where you say, yes, things haven't changed until they change. So if you say, look at past epidemics, let's think off the top of our head, when was the last epidemic where we had the internet, we had this kind of communication and information exchange, and we all locked ourselves in our home for 3 or 4 weeks? Well, that never happened in the past. So we can't look at history and expect it to repeat itself, because things do change, and there always is that precedent for change that moves things in a different direction.
I disagree, kind of. No, we haven't had the internet in the past. No, we haven't had cell phones. No, we haven't had the technology that we've had. But if you look in history, man, people have done some awesome things without cell phones, without all that stuff. And I mean, think about like pyramids. Any of the pyramids required getting thousands of people physically together to do something. And listen, I mean, I don't know. Every generation has had their own medium. Like, okay, like back in the day, it was a pigeon flying from one place to the other. Or maybe if you were in Rome or Carthage, maybe you had somebody running a marathon, running and relaying information to you. We're just getting information faster. Information has always been traded, and there's been so many people that lived here on the earth. I mean, everything's still the same to me. Like there's going to be civilizations rise and fall. That is normal. That's completely normal. I mean, how did the Romans fall? How did the Greeks fall? How did Medo-Persia fall? How did Babylon fall? They were all great, wonderful. Every one of them fails. Every one of them falls. We're going to fall too. It's all natural. It's all history. It's happened a gazillion times before. And when you're in the moment and you haven't really looked at history, oh, that's not going to happen here. We're going to change. But no, I mean, our country's headed for where every other country and dynasty's headed for. It's just going to fall. It's going to collapse, or it's going to be something totally different than what it started out as.
Well, I just think like what I'm referring to. I'm not talking about the things falling. I guess I was just saying that I think we're going to see some major changes in respect to when we look at good old days. I just think that there's going to be that. Hey, remember the good old days before we were also hyper concerned about passing virus and disease and so on. Now, if that all gets forgotten and everybody goes back to normal, cool. I'm down with that. I just personally don't think that, like Daniel Puente said, we've always been connected. Like we've always been connected, but like to try and compare how we're connected right now, 2020, to how we were connected even just 10 or 15 years ago. Like how many people were ordering on Amazon 15 years ago or 10 years ago? How many people were canceling their cable and watching Netflix? How many people, like how many times were there, countrywide, like viral, like you just look at how posts on the internet, how ideas on the internet spread virally. Like that didn't exist 20 years ago, not as a country. And that was only 20 years ago. It maybe existed within a small culture, within the internet culture, but now you're seeing a less of a line between things that go on the internet and real life, if we call it real life, outside of the internet in person, and vice versa. The real life goes onto the internet and so on. That line's blurred. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens. There was a question Jose Arias asked. He said, "Hey everyone, Rick," and this is just on a completely different topic since he said, "Rick, what do you think about plotter versus hand cutting?" I mean, this is a good old fashioned question. It's losing artistic touch with plotting or wasting time hand cutting. I'm a hand cutter, but thinking to buy a plotter. What are your thoughts on plotting, Rick?
Jose, right?
Jose Arias. Jose Sanchez Arias.
Okay, Jose. My thought on it is it's always evolving. Several years ago, I wouldn't have wanted a plotter because I can hand cut better. I'm greater, this, that, and the other. I got it. Today, 20 years, fast forward 20 years from when I started, technically I do have a plotter. It's not in operation yet. I've had like several, but today I want a plotter. Like seriously, like that's just less work that I have to do. And, it's all about your mindset at the current time. Because a lot of these guys, that have said, hey, I'll never be a plotter guy. A lot of those guys have plotters now. And, it's just another tool. You just have to learn to look at it as another tool. If it can cut the freaking window out for you and you're happy with the results, be happy. But you know what? Whether it's a hand cut or plotter cut, when you shave, like let's say if you shave the windows, when you're shaving, it don't make a difference if it's plotter cut or hand cut. It's going to look the same. I don't know, man. None of these programs, none of them are going to cut everything exactly perfect. They're never going to have any programs that cut everything perfect because every car is slightly different. They use different molds because after so long, you got to change the mold. Then you have aftermarket glass. But even just factory glass changes from time to time. How windows are framed in. If the guy that put the glass in used more of that black crap than they did on the last car, who knows? It's I don't know, but I'm ready. I'm ready just to go plotter and just be done. That's my opinion on hand cut versus plotter. It all depends on when and where you are in your career. Some people love it, some people don't, but it changes. It all changes. Everything changes.
So Adam Green mentioned iRacing. He said, iRacing, guys. Adam, you hit the nail on the head. I am a future iRacer. Do you play any video games, Rick?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Not really anymore. Like, honestly, when I did play a lot of video games, I was into stuff like SimCity, Age of Empires, Age of Empires 2, building stuff like that. I kind of like some Minecraft, but I've been into it, but I'm not like a gamer. I'm not gonna, get a computer system that's just for gaming and stuff, but not really a gamer.
So,
but there's several of them I really like sniper games. I love sniper games. Some of the racing games.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so many games out there. I can't be a gamer.
So I thought being a gamer was a bad idea, so I just kept myself away from it growing up. Like, I played like Sega and so on, but once I got a little older, it because I just felt like it was I want to call it not like a waste of time, but I was one of those people who was like, oh, I could be working. I could be working. I could be working. How can I be playing a video game? And now playing video games can be work, and they can, obviously it can be a whole career. So I am one of those people who iRacing specifically. I don't know if you've seen on TV, but like even like NASCAR and like the professional racers now, that's how they're doing it. It was iRacing. And I want to get into iRacing badly. So, Adam, if you are an experienced iRacer, I need to talk to you about what setup you recommend. So, so thank you for bringing that up, Adam. We'll talk about that after.
I told somebody I was going to give them a walkthrough of the shop earlier. They said they wanted to see everything.
So this is your new shop.
Yeah, let me get to where I can do a tour.
And then while you're doing that, I want to mention Lee Flores mentioned if SEMA's still a go, and there's kind of some back and forth whether SEMA's still a go. I think it might still be up in the air and nothing official. I think the same goes for the window film convention. So as much as we want the window film convention to happen, I think that might be canceled. So
what? You think the window film convention is going to be canceled this year?
I kind of do. It's something that I was looking so much forward to, but I kind of think it is. Rick, I'm going to go to full screen on you so you can show the outside of your shop. So everyone can do that now, and take it away.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just. This is just everything behind me. There's this. Now, here's the actual street. Here's the sign. I haven't got it lettered up or anything yet. That's coming soon. Now, if you look at the top of this building, there's that one thing going straight up.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see that, but I'm gonna actually paint that, and I'm gonna get one of those old school projectors like we used to have back in school, and I'm gonna come out here at night and get a clear sheet that's had a logo and stuff put on it, and so I'll put that up there at night, and then we'll trace around it with paint, and so we'll paint a logo up there. And so now we're coming into the shop. Now this window is going to have it'll be a full printed decal or whatever you want to call it on it.
Perforation?
No, this one will not
solid.
Be perfect. Yeah, this will be a solid full print lay, and then the door. Now the door is going to have a perf. I don't know what y'all can see, but the door is going to have perf on it. It's going to say Expel, Sunstoppers, and all that good stuff. And obviously we'll tint the windows before long. And so now we're inside. This is the actual customer area, and everything still looks like we're moving, and getting set up because we're still getting set up. I have a area back here. This is our restrooms back here, office and computer and stuff's back there. My wife's back there probably looking at the computer now, and now we're actually in the bay. And now I've got this half of the shop has not been done yet. If you see, I got a bunch of stuff back here. I got to figure out something to do with all that. A bunch of that is motor and Nissan equipment. I had a guy that was going to come by it, but he was like 6 hours away, and then some coronavirus rules happened, so he couldn't leave and come get it. So that'll be out of the way. So we've got the one shop done, or the one side of the shop done. All of these things above the cutting boards, they're going to say Sunstoppers and all that. Those are just up there right now because it's what I had until I got the other stuff going.
So
that's it.
As far as the brand TNT goes, is that going to be completely done? Like no more TNT, just Sunstoppers?
Yeah, at some point it'll just be Sunstoppers, and that's totally fine with me. I'm cool. It's like I said, TNT has achieved what it was meant to achieve. Time to move on. Even with the I hate to do this, but
there's
there. Just that way people know I'm being for real. That's tattooed on my chest. TNT, the logo. Anywho,
so back to like the window film convention. It's only guesses. I don't know anything that everybody already doesn't know, but it just feels like even even if things open up by then, obviously, because it's September, it's a good ways away. I'm sure everybody will be back in business by then. It feels like because of maybe the lost money in the last month or so, and probably in the next few weeks, that I would just feel like maybe the attendance, it's going to be tough to get people to spend the money on a hotel, on an airplane, to take a few days off of work and so on. So like, even if it does happen, it feels like one of those things where even attendance from businesses, they're going to probably be reevaluating if they have the money to invest in setting up at the window film convention. What do you think?
You may be right, but quit worrying about it. Listen, you're worrying about it more than anybody else right now because,
I'm not worried about it at all. It's just somebody brought up like SEMA and if it was going to happen. So I was just saying like,
yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
Worry, stressed, thinking about it, or put it on a positive spin. In any case, it's in your thoughts. But
well, it's something that we've put a lot of planning into this year and so on. I'm not stressed about it. It's just you have to think about it. It's a huge event. It's the Super Bowl of window tint.
It's going to be fine.
Of course it's going to be fine. It's just a question of if it's likely to happen or not. But of course it's going to be fine. Nobody's going to die whether it happens or it doesn't, unless it happens and a bunch of people get sick. But definitely no stress about it. Just a topic.
Good. I don't want you to be stressed, man. I want you to be feeling happy. And listen, we can't always feel happy all the time. Everybody has their moments. But that's in September, and it's going to be in Orlando. It's going to be real difficult not to be successful. Like, it's going to be hard not to be successful. Orlando, seriously. I'm not saying that's the tent capital of the world, but there's a lot more window tint shops in Florida than Indiana. There's a lot more tent shops in Florida than Georgia. Florida is one of the top 3 hotspots for window tinting. Even if it's down a little bit by normal standards, it's still going to be popping. It's really difficult to screw that one up. It really is. I think it's going to be
because like one of the ones that the topic that came up in the chat was, about SEMA, and SEMA's in Las Vegas. Geez, there's, it's Vegas. Like, do you look at SEMA with the same optimism?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. We'll see. Once it all happens, can you go back and look on paper and be like, oh yeah, we had a 12% decline? Yeah, I don't know. We'll just see what happens when it gets here, but I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off. Will there be a drop off? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be huge. We'll see. I don't know. September's still a long way out. Look how fast stuff happened with this virus. Well, how it might leave just as fast as it came. Who knows?
And I'm not saying that the virus isn't going to be like gone by then. Hopefully it is. I'm just saying the financial impact that people are feeling right now will likely carry over to their ability to travel, to take that time off from their work, to spend that money on airplanes and on hotels and so on. That's really what I'm saying. Not that it's going to be doom and gloom. We'll all be locked in our house.
Well, just think about this, and let's just say in 2 months, let's see how we all feel, because what's the first thing you're going to want to do when they say, hey, the restrictions are done? First thing people's going to do is jump their asses outside and go somewhere and spend money. They ain't been able to spend no money except on crap to eat here for the last 2 months.
You're saying,
think about it.
You're saying people are going to want to spend money, though, but I think like people are going to want to make money. Like people are out of a job. Like a lot of people are out of jobs, and a lot of people at the moment are even questioning if they're going to be out of their business. If they were laid off from their work, the first thing they do when this opens up and they can go outside is not going to be spending money. It's going to be looking for a job. And if depending on the ability to find jobs, which is going to depend on everything else in the economy, I don't think it's a safe thing to say people are just going to come back and spend money. I hope they do, but
Well, it's either people's going to come back and spend money, or we're just basically saying that, hey, we're always going to be, our culture is, going to be permanently disabled from here on.
Not permanently. I'm just saying coming right out of this. I'm saying 30 days, 60 days out of this.
It's not going to happen.
I don't think there's going to be a rebound where everybody's like, finally, I can go outside. Let me spend money. I think a lot of people are going to go, okay, we're out of this. I need to find a job because I mean, it seems like a lot of people were laid off, even just within the window film community. A lot of people laid off. A lot of businesses put out money that they didn't have to, keep the door or to pay their employees, and that has to be made up somehow. No.
No, I totally agree. Now, I do believe that this whole stimulus is going to offset it. And I think the stimulus is actually going to offset it more than some people realize, because there's still a ton of people out there that have not gotten their tax money back. So think about this. You're going to have a bunch of people that's been stuck at their house for all this time. And these bunch of people, they're going to get their tax money back. Plus, they're going to get the stimulus on top of it. If you put that much money into somebody's hand, I mean,
They're going to pay their rent from like March.
Right, you're right about that, but I don't know. We'll just see what happens, because, I mean, some of the people, some people have saved up and can get through a little rough spot, because it hasn't been 2 or 3 months for everybody, depending on where you are in the country. So the people that have had more time off, obviously they're probably in a worse situation. But the people that have, not had to been down for so long, maybe they're doing better. I'm just simply saying it overall is going to have a net negative result. I'm just trying to look for the good. And one of the good things is a lot of people are going to have tax money plus soon. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a silver lining. I'm not saying that's going to make the world change overnight. But I am saying that is going to help bump the economy up at least a little bit from where it was at. I'm not Republican or Democrat, but I do believe Donald Trump would be the best person to be in office right now as far as the economy goes. Because, I mean, I got faith that he can handle the economy. I'm not going to say nothing negative or nothing like that. I'm just simply saying I think he's going to do good with the economy. I've been watching that guy for 20 plus years, hobnobbing with all these people, rich people, politicians. But long story short, the guy, he knows, like just building a building. How many people get employed by building something? China, look at China. How did China become one of the largest economies in the world, second to America? I'm going to tell you how. They built freaking cities in the middle of nowhere that don't even have people in them. They just built cities just to boost their economy. I don't think we're going to just build cities, but I think we'll be able to boost the economy, and I think Trump will do okay on that. As far as other stuff with Trump, I don't get into it, but I think, the economy is what helps me or hurts me. So I'm just worried about what the guy is saying about the economy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But I'd just rather look at the positive side of everything and realize that it's going to be a net negative result. But I just want to look for the good. Because listen, man, when there is no more good to look at and people lose hope, that's when shit's going to get real bad.
Well, there's plenty of good to look at. And, like where I was going with like the window film convention, the window film convention, something obviously like as a company, as a person, I just enjoy going to it. I've gone to it every year. And, this was the first year that we were planning on having a booth. We still are planning on having a booth. We've locked in our booth already, whether it happens or not, we're locked in. I guess where my mind was going with it was, if we do see an instance where it's not happening, what kind of other things may happen? What I mean by that is if let's say it still happens, we still have a window film convention. If attendance is possibly going to be lower, does that mean maybe they're going to live stream it? Maybe everybody can watch it through a live stream because they're expecting a lower attendance. Is there going to be more of a virtual aspect to this year's window film convention or maybe future conventions? Or does that even open up doors for different type of virtual events? That's really where my mind was going. It's not a doom and gloom.
Do you think it would be a good idea?
Go ahead.
Do you think it would be good to have just like you said, basically a virtual event? Well, do you think it's good?
I do. I always thought that I'll tell you an experience I had at the window film convention last year. Somebody came up to me, or we were chatting, and they had mentioned how they were live streaming, and they were told by somebody at the event that they weren't allowed to live stream, and they questioned it, and they were told, well, you can't film other people's booths without their permission. So you can film a specific booth if you have their permission, but you can't just film everybody's booth. And to me, I thought that was crazy, batshit crazy. I thought, we're in a day and age where you, as an event holder, you want to share stuff. As a business, you should want as much sharing as possible. And whatever you think you're losing by everybody seeing, you're actually gaining. It's a backwards thing. And now I don't know, I don't remember who was the enforcer of that. I'm not saying that was the policy of the convention. It could have been a misguided person. But what I'm simply saying is, I do think that if you don't make it to the event, it would be cool if you could spend $10 or whatever and have access to a live stream, or if it was free, that'd be even cooler. And it'd be awesome to be able to experience events through a complete live stream. I know like the Expel event was one that, it's for Expel dealers. I'm not an Expel dealer. I wasn't at that event. I wanted to be at that event. I wanted to experience as much as possible. And if live streaming became more of a standard in the sort of thing, I think that'd be cool. And I think if they're expecting a lower rate of attendance, that would be something that maybe the evolution pulls itself in that direction. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the reason I asked you if you thought it was good, if you think it's good, mention it to them. Tell them.
Dude, this is how I mention it. But I do want to get somebody from there on there. But this is how I mention it. I just get to talk shit through this live stream. Hopefully they hear it.
Asses up. You've spent money to go there. Call Trish, call whoever, and be like, hey, I think this would be a good idea, and see what happens. And if they're like, oh, well, maybe they have a reason why it's not a good idea. I don't know, but
there's no reason.
Talk. Tell them, hey, I think we should live stream this.
This is it. This is why I do this. I don't have to reach out to anybody. I can just put it in the ether and hope that the right people hear it.
I would love to come and be a part of the live stream Tint Wiz at the competition, right? Like, hey, man, we're at the competition in sunny Orlando, whatever. We're having a blast. We're over here with Eric DeVash. He's kicking ass. Everybody here is just coming together. We're going to have a good time.
That's definitely part of the plan regardless. So part of the booth, if we're able to have a booth, it's definitely going to have the live streaming aspect to it. There's no question about that. And I'm just saying that, if they're preparing for less attendance, it could create great value for the businesses that are willing to put the money out there to know that they're reaching a broader audience with that live stream. And then also, if you get real creative, it can be a way that businesses who maybe can't make the investment to be there for whatever reason could also get some exposure and maybe have part through a live stream. I mean, it brings a whole nother dimension to the window film conventions, all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, man, you tell them you want to do it, and I'll have your back. Not that my voice is going to mean a lot to them, but I'll be like, look, y'all better do what my boy wants, or we're gonna break bad on your ass.
Or you got to do it yourself. That's really what comes down to it. And
yeah.
I love the idea of, like, even just talking about this, my mind started spinning on, like, well, how can we have an event? Could we get everybody together? There's obviously like Zoom and these types of things. I even went to think of, when we were talking about how many cards you could do in a day, I thought about what about the idea of putting together a tint off competition where everybody that's competing is in their shop with a camera. It's all live streamed. Obviously you're not going to be able to judge the quality in the same way, but you could require, live stream of the edge. You're watching them tinted, and it's not the same, but it could be something interesting.
That reminds me of like these old school base competitions where they could legitimately measure the decibels your system was putting out. Like speakers? They would count. Yeah, your speakers, like whatever.
Through a live stream, though, are you saying, or how do you?
Yeah. I've seen those live. Okay. I've seen those done live. Like, you'd have some guy in, like, I don't know, Belgium competing with some guy in Detroit, or something crazy. But I'm not saying it can't be done on the window film side. I'm just saying there's a lot more logistics involved to do it like that. But who knows? I don't know. I just don't. Hey, we all have great ideas, and we don't always have time to think about how to implement them. But getting ideas out, maybe somebody else will figure out how to implement these things.
Yeah. Well, and everybody here, you and I chatting, and everybody in the comments and joining in, like, I mean, this wasn't something I was thinking about 2 hours ago. I'm only thinking about it because of our conversation and the comments that are in here.
Sweet. Well, man, I don't know how long we've been on, bro, but I'm about tapped out. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm wore out.
All right, we've been live for about an hour and a half, so we'll wrap this up. I have one question before we cut out
Okay.
that I think can be really valuable. So you were obviously you're in the process of setting up this new shop. Is there anything that stands out to you in this new shop that you've decided to do differently as far as like from a setup point of view than your previous shop? Because I think a lot of people, this is the time where they can put some little time into reorganizing or setup or anything. Is there anything that stands out to you doing differently in this new shop?
Um, there's not really. The biggest thing that's going to be different is just the presentation. The presentation is going to have a huge, testosterone boost or whatever you want to call it, steroid injection. The presentation is going to be much better. Have you ever watched Megamind? Like it's a kids movie, but even with it being a kids movie, it's badass. I got kids, so I've watched it. But Megamind, it's like this. It's almost like this evil guy comes from some foreign planet and he lands here, and then like this other guy, like this superhero, he lands at the same time, and one of them's real good. One of them turns out to be evil because he doesn't fit in, looks different. They're both essentially superheroes, but one is a villain and one is a good guy. Well, at some point, the guy in the movie is like, what does it take to be a villain? And like the biggest thing, I don't know, man, I'm going to mess it up. But if you watch the movie, it was presentation. It's like, he comes out like with jamming out to some AC/DC or some shit on a cloud of craziness. And that's the difference. Your presentation, even something as simple as water, bottled water. I always think about bottled water because, I was down in Zephyr Hills, Florida, and they have, bottled water down there. And the biggest thing about selling water is the presentation. It's the packaging. That's the biggest thing. So I'm just trying to, supersize my presentation to the end consumer. I can do a great tint job out in the parking lot. I can do a great tint job anywhere. But the customer doesn't always know that. They want to feel like you're going to do a great tint job. I could be out of the back of my house. Somebody else can be out putting great jobs out of the back of their house. It's the presentation factor.
Yeah.
I can hand you a Dixie cup with water in it and hand you, I don't know, Icelandic water or something like that, or glacier or Fiji. And you're probably going to grab one of the ones that are in the better looking, container.
Yeah.
So it's all about the presentation. So that's the biggest thing that's changing.
And I know that was a metaphor for what you're doing, the water, but bottled water is also a great way to present yourself. First thing you hand a customer is here's a bottle of water, and you start talking to them. It's an opportunity to gift something. So I know that was a metaphor for the bigger picture, but I think bottled water is just great on all levels.
One of the things, I'm not going to say I'm doing different, but one of the strategies I've been implementing recently, even starting back at the other shop, is give the customers more than they expect. Well, I've heard that ever since I was young. Most people have heard that, but it doesn't have to be like, let me give this person a free something I'm doing. Maybe you can have your business t-shirts. Hey, a ceramic customer, comes in, maybe you give them a t-shirt, maybe you give this customer a keychain. All of that stuff's cheap stuff. That's more than they expected. They expected to come in and get a killer tint job. Hey, they got a free shirt. They got anything free that lets you know you appreciate them. It could be a card. Thank you for coming. It could be something cheap. Just do more to show customers that you appreciate them besides just giving them an awesome tint job. Don't get me wrong. That needs to be first and foremost on the work side of it. But always remember the customer side of it is keep these people happy. It's something I've learned is like when I give somebody a keychain, when I give them a shirt, when I say, hey, I'll give you a free glare strip for whatever reason, or I don't know, whatever I'm doing. One thing I've learned is They're going to trust you more. They're going to be more happy with you. If they've got a problem with anything that you've done on the job, or they're less likely to come back and complain about it. It can actually neutralize some of the crabby customers or some of the potential customers that you don't want to have problems with. It can help neutralize them before you have a problem. So it's almost like insurance in some ways. If somebody feels good, about being around you, but they also feel indebted to you because they got something they didn't pay for. And so they're like, oh man, this company really cares about me, that they gave me something. And everybody loves free stuff, man. And, you might have saved yourself, having to fix something that there was nothing really wrong with. Plus you picked up some more customers because they're going to tell people. It's all those little things, like do a great tint job. Don't get me wrong. Do a great tint job. Do as good as you can do, but do other stuff too. One thing that we're probably going to start doing here too is we're probably going to bring in like drinks, maybe snacks, like little single serving size type stuff, stick them in the fridge. And when a customer comes in, if they've got to wait, hey, come out here. Hey, are you interested in some water? You want a soft drink? You want this? You want a snack? This is all cheap stuff. Like you could literally spend, I don't know, let's just say 10 extra bucks on a customer.
Right.
Let's just say you give your customer $10 worth of stuff. Well, I mean, if you give them a drink, you give them a snack, that's maybe $1.50, right? You still got like $7-8.50 left. Now you can give them a shirt too. You can just give them stuff, and they're like, oh, I got a bunch of stuff. Let me go get this guy a review. I love him. Or his wife was awesome. His wife, told me how to do this and gave me this, and do more than just the actual job. Do more than that. And when you do a vehicle and it was hard on you and you took extra time, I learned this when I used to do detailing. Go back and show them why it was more difficult, why it took you more time, why you decided to do it. Because, like just going to detailing, every time I'd get done detailing a car, I would always go over the car with the customer and be like, look, in this particular area, I had to fight a lot harder. But I got that out, and it might be something that they never even seen, and they're like, oh my goodness. So when that translates over into tint work, explain to customers what you're doing, how difficult it is compared to other window tinters to do it, how other people do it. If that's all you're doing, you're taking an interest in their personal property, which makes them feel you're taking an interest in them. Take interest in your customers. That doesn't mean you have to learn their whole life story, but just take interest in them. Talk about their stuff. Talk about their needs. Tell them why you're going to do such a killer job for them. I don't know. Just be nice to people. You can't just be like, hey, it's blah 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 to get your windows tinted. Okay, there's got to be more to it than that. If you start now, with that being said, I don't always give my customers a lot of information until they get here. Once I have a customer that I know is going to spend money with me, then I'll treat them. I don't always give them everything before they get here, right? Like, I want to know what kind of customer I've got. If it's a ceramic customer, I'm going to go out of my way for them. If it's just a regular customer, I might do a little something extra for them. But I'm going to take care of the customers that take care of me. If you want to have ceramic customers, give your ceramic customers free stuff. If you want them to keep coming back, give them a reason to keep coming back, other than just your good tinter, because there's a lot of good tinters out there, period. There's a lot of great window tinters out there. We're no longer in the point where you're competing with somebody doing 3-piece back windows. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be quote-unquote hacks out there, but seriously, don't imagine yourself competing with somebody that just sucks that horribly. Most window tinters at this point are pretty dang competent at what they're doing. So how can you beat them? Go further than what they're willing to do. That's what it all comes down to. But then again, if your customers are happy and the guy, across town is doing stuff for his customers, great. You'll both build up a clientele. I don't know. Do more than what they expect. It's real simple, but it works.
Yeah. Do more. Yeah. Exceed their expectations.
Exceed their expectations, and you'll never have a problem.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say never, but you know what I mean.
Rick, thank you for doing this.
Oh
So you
yeah,
had a
man.
long day, and one sign of that is we started. It was daylight out there, and now it's nighttime. So, um,
Yeah. I listen. I love doing these things, and I would like to do another one once I get more situated because these impromptu type things are cool. But I do want to have a more purpose driven, Tint Wiz conversation with you at some point. It can't be today. Like I like the impromptu stuff, but later on, I definitely like to have more of a specific topic pointed discussion with you.
anytime you're ready, I'm ready. Again, thank you for doing this. Thank you for everybody for watching. And one last thing before we go, there's going to be a video going up early tomorrow morning on our YouTube channel. It's the only place it's going to go. It's a giveaway. So if you want to get in on that giveaway, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on the notifications, because tomorrow morning there's going to be a video on there, and you're going to be able to go to a website and get a product completely free shipping and everything. So that'll be going up on our YouTube channel. And Rick, I'm ready to do another one whenever you're ready. Best of luck finishing your shop. And, thanks for doing this.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for doing it too, man. I appreciate it, and
Hey,
I've had a blast.
my pleasure, man. Have a great night. Thank you for everybody for watching, and I'll talk to you soon, Rick.
All right, we'll see you.
Have a
Bye.
great night, everyone.